Hi, and welcome to part 4 of our tutorial on how to become a Unity game developer in Unity. In this episode, we're going to talk about scripting and animating player characters. But before we get into that, I just want to say if you are starting to see this error whenever you open up Unity, basically this is because, as it says, the thing contains some compilation errors. So this is basically only going to concern you if you're trying to release your game as like a bundle on Steam, like alongside other games like that your friends made or that you made. So this will come to you way down the line. Don't worry about it for now. I see this error literally every time I open up Unity, and it's not a problem. You can just hit ignore. Like most things in life, it's just kind of an empty threat. And as you can see, Unity opens just fine. So how big of a problem could it even be? But anyways, I digress. Let's talk about scripting and animating player characters. Now, of course, the standard human body is made out of 7 or 8 walls. And I've already gone ahead and built these for you. Um, Basically, after the basic setup, what we need to do next is get it rigid up with some rigid bodies. So we call like the rigid body component. We'll have to add it to each of the things. So let's go through each part of the human body and talk about like what is rigid and what isn't. So the torso, like absolutely rigid. So of course you're going to add a rigid body to the torso. Okay. Um, the legs, like the legs are definitely they're rigid, so each one is going to be have a rigid body on it. There's another rigid body, but also like each leg is also you use it for walking, so it's going to be what they call kinematic. So it's like that's a like kinesis to it. Now the arms, of course, your arms are not rigid at all; they flop all over the place. So you don't need to worry about that. Everything here, I think, it looks pretty good. And the head is a special case, so watch this closely. So what you're gonna do first of all, we're gonna need to. There's a box collider. We got to remove this because your head is already like a box that collides with things, so we don't need that. But it's also because we're gonna need to add something else. Now, there's a very special rigid body for the head. It's called the rigid body 2D. Okay, and 2D stands for two directions, and you're gonna need this for storytelling because what your story is going to be based on is basically your player character and their ability to like say yes or no to things, right? So you need the two directions it can move in, right? It's like so in your if your game story is like, do you want to take care of take care of your own children? You want to be able to say like, yeah, I want to do that. Oh wait, hold on. Or well, I'd have to detach the head from the rest of it. I think this is an error in Unity. But you'd also want to be like, no, I don't want to take care of my kids. And then that would be, you're like a bad character for the rest of the game. But anyway, so you just put that 2D, the two direction rigid body on the head. And so now you've got like a fully rigid character. Your character's all rigid up. And we can move on to the next part, which is like now we're getting into it for real, guys. Now we're getting into scripting. We have to script our player character. So, first of all, where should the script for your character go? Well, it's going to go in your head, right? Because it's where your brain is, or so at least it's where my brain is. And so you're going to you're going to make sure you're on your head component, and we're going to add a script. So we can just type script here. There's a script machine, which sounds like amazing, but I don't know about that. And we're going to call this like player game brain create and add. Okay. So there's our script. So now you can double click on your script and it's going to open up whatever your scripting thing, text editor thing is. But before we get into this, I just want to talk a little bit about like what is computer programming, okay? So computer programming is like imagine there's like a toaster and it's plugged into the wall. So the toaster needs to communicate with the wall to say like, hey, I'm a toaster. I need electricity to cook bread or whatever. And the wall's saying, okay, I'll send this electricity. And like, but of course they don't speak in English, right? They just speak in like bzzz. And like that buzzing is basically what computers do when they talk to each other. So that's what scripting is. So like the wall has a script to send electricity to the toaster, and then the toaster is like, thank you. And then it has a script to toast bread. So we're going to do the same thing here. So when you open up, there's like two types of things that you want to code. So There's like the start, which is kind of like the basic of how like your character is going to move or whatever and how it's going to do things. And then there's the update, which is like just what's the update to the game story and stuff like that. So let's start with the start thing. So we want the character to walk. So like we're going to do what's called like a variable. I guess it's like is walking, and of course the answer is yes because you want your character to walk. Okay, so then we're going to talk about like what is the walking. So go left foot, sorry, +1. Then, okay, you're always going to put like these kinds of commands in all caps to just to tell the computer like I'm serious, like do it. Right foot +1. Okay, so that's, and what is this, right? That's walking. Okay, it's not just 2 steps, right? So you're going to loop until the var is walking equals no, right? Until the player's like, I don't want to walk anymore. I'm going to do something else. So, and then you end the wait, what the hell is this? No, don't do it. End. I'm trying to, sorry, some of these programs do this. End. Okay, we'll enable it. End var. Okay, to end the variable. And then that's basically it. So you'll do other things for like stuff you might do, like move your shoulder or like whatever else, and then that's it. Update. This is where we really get into the narrative. Like, what's the latest story updates for the game? So basically, here's where you're going to write in all the dialogue for your character. So if like the first update in the story was just like the beginning of the story. So it's like, my wife died in childbirth like an idiot, and now I've got to raise my daughter in a violent and dangerous world by myself. I can only hope she will show me the true meaning of love. And then just to clarify an earlier plot point, I did not love my wife. So that's basically, that'll be like the first update. And then you can do further updates later on in the story, like whatever, like I died or whatever, or my daughter died. That's like a branch in the story. So basically, so that's it. And so that's basically the basics of the scripting. So we're going to save that. Okay, we're going to close out of it. So now we're back in the game, and the character now has that script in their brain, and they're ready to go. And I mean, if you want, you can hire writers to add on to that story, but like you basically did it. You wrote the story. They didn't do anything you couldn't have done. And I just hope that was helpful, because I feel like other tutorials are always like, oh, here's how you print something. And then out of nowhere, it's like, don't forget to collapse all of your functions into a construct. Construct what? What are you talking about? Anyways, so that'll be it for now. Now we've totally rigid our character and scripted it. And now we are ready for the next tutorial, and get ready. Next, we're going to build and run our game, and we're almost done. This game is looking great. It's almost finished, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.